Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to learn about the AWS CloudFormation, right? And that is very important service provided by the AWS. In the AWS, in this session, what we are going to conduct. So first, we are going to understand that why do we require the cloud formation? Then what is actually the cloud formation is. The cloud formation can be written with the help of two different languages like JSON and YAML. That is what we are going to discuss. After that, while writing the cloud formation template, right? So what would be the format of the cloud formation template? That is what we are going to see. And once the template has been written, right, what we can do is that we can deploy that those resources in the AWS that will make the stack cloud formation stack in the AWS. So that stack would always have a life cycle. So that is what we are going to discuss. Then we are going to discuss that what could be the portability issues in the cloud formation template, right? And how to resolve those portability issues with the help of parameters and the mappings that we can uh, define in the cloud formation template, right? So there is what we are going to see. And finally we are going to see that the portable cloud formation template that we are going to use. And in between I'm going to give you some of the exam tips, right, that you can go through and you can assess your knowledge. Okay, so let me start with that why do we require the cloud formation. So let's consider the simple use case where we want to host that WordPress website. Okay. In fact, we want to provide the infrastructure in AWS so that the user can host the WordPress website. Okay. So what are the essential requirements for this? That obviously the user is going to have the WordPress website, right? And for that user require to have a support to write the website. Okay. So that one of the scripting language support should be there, so that in this case we are considering the PHP. Then we require the web server to host the web application. Okay, so in this case we are going to use the Apache web server, right? And obviously as this is the WordPress website, so we require some backend, and that backend would be in terms of database. And the database that we are going to is either I can use the MySQL or Aurora, right? But for this particular session we are going to see that how MySQL is used to host the WordPress hosting infrastructure. Okay, and at the end we require a computer, and that computer is the Linux server, right? And that we can or on that computer we can have the operating system like the CentOS, Ubuntu, or the Amazon Linux kind of. Okay, so this is what we will have. Right now the question would be that how we can deploy all these things, right? So that that whatever things that we require, like that PHP web server, MySQL, CentOS, right? All these things are considered as a lamp stack, which is very essential thing for the WordPress website. Okay, so what we can do, we can start deploying all the that infrastructure that we require as per our previous slide. Like that we require the RDS, AWS RDS instance. We require also we require AWS EC2 instance, right? So this thing we can provision with the help of AWS console, right? The AWS console, that what we get once we log into the AWS website, right? But this particular AWS console is very error prone. So it may happen that you may do some mistake, right, while configuring your infrastructure, right? And this is also very time consuming because individually you have to configure the resources, right? So first you will configure that EC2 instance, and in EC2 instance you will install the MySQL, then you will install the Apache, etc., etc., right? And obviously that once that that instance or that the infrastructure has been configured, right, it is very hard to audit, right, the infrastructure that you have. Also it is very hard to edit the infrastructure that you have. Okay, and obviously suppose in the future later on, suppose if you want to deploy the same kind of thing, right? Okay, so again you have to perform all the step manually, right? So we require some kind of automation over here, and that is where we have that CFN. CFN stands for cloud formation, right? So cloud formation comes to rescue. Like here, what we can do, that we can define and manage our infrastructure as a code, right? So basically this service is known as the infrastructure as a code, the cloud formation, right? Then we can store the template. So later on in future, suppose we want to create a same kind of infrastructure, right? So we can use that template and we can deploy the same infrastructure. We can select the parameter like that, how many number of instance, EC2 instances we require, what could be the instance type, right, etc. What would be the capacity of EBS, etc., etc. We can do this. And also later on, suppose we require to update the whatever that resources we have configured in the AWS, right? So just we require to change in the that template, and we can deploy our cloud formation stack at any time, right? So updation of the cloud formation stack is possible. Also we can have that different version of the cloud formation template, right? Suppose you are keep on changing the template, right? So you can have that version control over the template also, right? And at the end, what else we can do? That suppose we don't require any infrastructure at all, right? That we have deployed with the help of cloud formation, that we can delete, right? So basically that whatever we have learned so far, right? So based on that, this kind of question could be there in the AWS certification course examination, right? So the question is that your client is looking for a way to use standard template for describing and provisioning their infrastructure resources on AWS. So which AWS service can be used in this scenario, right? So obviously the answer would be which one? B, right? That is a cloud formation. Okay. So let's go ahead. Another question, right? So would you like to respond this answer of this question? The question is that a recent security audit uncovered some poor deployment and configuration practice within your VPC. VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. You need to ensure that applications are deployed in secure configuration. So how can this be achieved in the most operationally efficient manner, right? So here also what you can do, you can use the cloud formation with securely configured templates. Okay, so all these are advantages of the cloud formation, right? So now the question is that how one can create the cloud formation template, right? So that cloud formation template can be created either manually, or what else you can do, there are so many pre-built templates available in the AWS, so you can use one of the template based on your requirement, or you would have that design window where you can design your that cloud formation template. So both things are possible. Okay. Now, what is the difference between, so far I'm talking about that the template and stack. So what is the difference between the cloud formation template and the stack? Okay, so let's try to understand. So template is what, where we can write something, that what is as per our requirement, that what we want, that how many EC2 instance we want, that which kind of EC2 instance I want, right? Whether I want one S3 bucket, I want one that RDS instance, right? So that is what I have to mention in the template, right? So this template would be processed by the cloud formation, AWS cloud formation, and based on that, cloud formation will generate or create the necessary resources specified in the template. So that stack contains, or stack is nothing but what, it is a group of resources specified in the template, right? So we can say like that the stack is the combination of EC2 instance, RDS, S3 bucket, elastic beanstalk, etc., etc. Okay, so stack contains the physical resource which are going to be created by the CFN, okay, based on the available template. So that is the difference between template and stack. Okay, so one more time, the template is what, where we can write that what we want, okay, and stack is what, that is a, it is a group of resources which are mentioned in the template, okay, the group of resources which are there on the AWS. So that is the difference between template and stack. Okay, so based on this, we are having a one more question. Like the question is that you are a solution architecture at digital cloud training. A client a client from a large multinational corporation is working on a deployment of a significant amount of resources into AWS. The client would like to be able to deploy resources across multiple AWS accounts and regions using a single tool set and templates. Okay, and you have been asked to suggest a tool set that can provide this functionality. Okay, so can you find out what will be the answer? I'm giving you some time to go through the options. Okay, so you must have gone through the option available. Okay, so the correct answer is what? That is the cloud formation stack set, right? So what is this? That, like, so far we have discussed about the template, then we have discussed about stack. Then what is the cloud formation stack set? So with the help of cloud formation stack set, it is possible to deploy the resources in a different region, also in a different account, right?
Hello.
So this is the facility provided by the CloudFormation stack set. That is what we have to use, right? Another option is the Terraform, but that with the help of Terraform, right, it is not possible to deploy in a different region, right? And obvious, no, it is possible to deploy in the different region, right? But here it has been asked that which AWS service that we require to use, right? And that's why the answer is the CloudFormation stack set. Okay. Okay, so now the question is that how we can write the cloud formation template manually, right? So that cloud formation template can be written with the help of either JSON, or it can be written with the help of YAML. Okay, so here you can see this is a structure of the JSON, and this one is the structure of YAML. Okay, in the case of YAML, everything is written with the some indentation, right? And that will figure out that which kind of that particular content is. Okay, similarly in the case of JSON, that everything is written in the curly braces, right? So here, suppose if I want to deploy one bucket, okay, in the current user account in current region, right? So at that time, what I have to write, just I have to mention that particular thing in the resource. See, this resource is one of the that part of the cloud formation template, and this one is the only compulsory part. The resources is the only compulsory part of the cloud formation network. Okay, so here in the resource, we can specify the AWS resources like EC2 instance, that DB2 instance, S3 bucket, elastic beanstalk, etc, etc. So here you can see what I'm specifying. I'm specifying resources, right? And this hello bucket is the name of the resource which I'm going to create. So here I'm specifying which resource that I want to create, which AWS resource I want to create. So here I want to create AWS S3 bucket, and that is what I have to specify in the type. Okay, one thing that you have to take care is that in the JSON, everything you have to write within double quotes, right? And this is a constraint of the AWS CloudFormation template. Okay, so keep this thing in mind. Okay, or either you can go with the YAML. In the YAML, you don't require to specify any quotation marks or the curly braces. Just you can mention that resources, then hello bucket, and the type of resources. And this is how I can write the CloudFormation template. Okay, so far so good, right? Now what this cloud formation template consists of. Okay, as I told you in the previous slide, only the resources part of the cloud formation template is compulsory, the rest of the things are optional. Okay, so let's go through all the parts of the cloud formation template one by one. Okay, so this is a cloud formation template where we can have parameters, we can have mapping, we can have resources, we can have condition also, and we can have metadata. And also that whatever output would be generated by the cloud formation template, that also we can have in one of the section that is known as the output section. Okay, so all these things are part of the cloud formation template. Okay, so we are going to discuss this parameter and mapping, that how these things are useful in the cloud formation. Okay, so just now we have discussed that these are the different parts of the cloud formation template. Okay, so I'm repeating one more time that resources is the compulsory thing that we have to specify in the cloud format, cloud formation template. Okay, and rest of the things like mapping, parameter, condition, metadata, and output are optional. Okay, so once suppose we have executed our cloud formation template. Okay, and the stack has been created. Okay, so that stack would have a life cycle like that. When we create stack based on the cloud formation template, right? Okay, through some processing, right? That particular stage is known as the creation of the stack. Okay, later on, suppose we require to update a few of the resource in the stack, right? At that time, what we require to do, we require to change the template, we require to modify the template, and as well as we require to specify for which stack we want to do some updation, right? And both things would be inputted to the AWS cloud formation process. Okay, and that will create the updated stack, right? And later on, suppose your requirement has been finished, completed, right? And at that time you don't require those resources anymore. Okay, so in that case, what you can do, you can specify the template as an input and the stack as an input, right? So based on your that request, that the whole stack would be deleted. Or also it is possible that you can delete the part of the stack also, right? If you want to delete that specific to instance, if you want to delete the bucket, right, that is what you can remove from the stack. So this is possible, right? So this is the stack life cycle. Stack life cycle means that what can be done with the resources which have been created uh, after by the AWS cloud formation. Okay, so the tutorial, the next question is based on this, that a solution architecture has created a VPC design that meets the security requirement of their organization. Okay, there's some security requirements are there. Okay, any new application that are deployed must use this VPC design. Okay, that is a constant. How can project team deploy, manage, and delete VPC that meet this design with the least administrative effort? So here keyword is what? That least administrative effort, right? So least administrative effort means what? That you have to try to laser down that the manual effort as much as possible, and that is possible through only that cloud formation, right? So what we can do here in this case, as per this scenario, that we can deploy an AWS cloud formation template that defines the component of the VPC. This is what we can do. And also we can specify that whatever the security requirement that we would be having, okay, in the cloud formation template. Okay, so let's try to create some simple stack with the help of this the template which is available with us, right? So I'm going to demonstrate that how the template would look like and how to execute the template. Okay, so for that hmm, I have to open that simple template which I have stored in my directory. I'm going to open it. Yeah, it is here. Okay, and I'm opening it over here. Okay, let me share the screen so you will get the idea of that. Okay, so I hope that you are able to see this. So here, as I have told you, that every cloud formation template would have that one particular section which is compulsory, that is the resources section. Okay, in that resources section, I can specify that the AWS resource which I want to create. Okay, now here, as a part of this particular practical, we want to create three different resources like DB instance that I want EC2, and I want S3. Okay, now here basically our aim is what? That we want to provide the infrastructure which can deploy or which can host the WordPress website. Okay, so these are the bare minimal requirement for the WordPress hosting infrastructure. Okay, so under the resources you can see that I'm going to have three different types of resources like database, EC2 and S3. Okay, let's go through all the resources one by one. So first one is the DB2, where I have to specify that what I want, right? So which instance of the database that I want. So here I want the AWS RDS instance, that is the DB instance. Okay, and these are the properties, right? These are the configuration parameters that we can have for the DB. Okay, so here that you can see that what would be my database name. Here my database name is a WordPress, right? What would be the engine, right? See, there are different types of database supported by the AWS, right? So it could be the Aurora, it could be a MySQL, it could be Oracle, right? And here I can specify that what would be the master username. This master username is what the root username of the MySQL, and this would be the password of the root user. Okay, so these are the parameters or the properties related to DB2 instance. Okay, let's come to the EC2 instance. Okay, so which EC2 instance that I want. Under EC2 instance also I'm having a different category, but here just I require the compute instance. That's why I have specified the instance. Okay, so AWS, the type that I have to specify, and this is the this is the most important thing. For any AWS instance, I must have to specify the type. Okay, then and then that CloudFormation would figure out that which instance it's supposed to create. Okay, so here I want EC2 instance. Okay, and the property specified that I need image ID. Okay, this image ID, that means that on which or which kind of instance that I want. Okay, in AWS what happens that there are specific AMIs of different types of EC2 instances, right? So that is what I'm specifying, and different AMIs are differentiated with the help of such kind of string. Okay, and here also I'm specifying that which type of hardware that I want for this particular operating system. Okay, generally that AMI contains the operating system that is going to be installed on this kind of hardware. Okay, and along with this I require the S3 bucket, right? So this is how I can specify that AWS S3 and the bucket, and obviously here I must have to specify that what would be the I have to specify that what would be the name of the bucket. Okay, so in place of this bucket name, I can specify that like anything, like I can specify crypto gurus, right? This is how I can specify the bucket. Okay, now I'm saving this template, right? I think the template is clear to all of you, right? So let's try to deploy this template into the CloudFormation. Okay, so for that I'm going to open my AWS console. Okay, so let me go through it. Okay, this one is my AWS console, right? So can you see my AWS console? I hope that you must be seeing. Okay, so let me go to the CloudFormation, right? So what I can do, either I can type the CloudFormation over here, right? Okay, and I can get that where it is. Okay, so I'm opening the CloudFormation, where here you can see that we are having a different windows over here. Like here you can see these here if you will click that the list of the stacks which are available, right, that I might have created earlier, the stacks sets, right? The stack set is what that the different resources that we have created across the globe, like in the different region and different user account ID. Okay, right? So, and here also I can export. Suppose I have pre-built the stack, right? I can export it and I can create the template. And here we are having a facility, that designer, where I can design my whole cloud formation template, right, rather than writing manually. Okay, so let's create our first stack. Okay, but while creating this first stack, right, we have to be there in this particular region, that is the North Virginia region, right? Later on, I am going to explain that why I require to remain in the North Virginia. Okay, so I am clicking on the create stack. Okay, and here I'm having options like that. Here I require to prepare the template, like the template is ready, or I want to use the sample template, or I want to create a template in a designer, right? So for this particular exercise, I'm going to use the ready template, right? And here I have to specify that from where I'm going to get my template. The template location can be either Amazon S3 URL, where you might have stored your template priorly, or what you can do, you can upload the template from your local machine, right? So right now I'm choosing the option that upload a template from the local machine. Okay, and from here I can choose the template file, okay, which I have stored in my machine. Okay, so let me go through my folder. That here, the CloudFormation one. Okay, and this is my template. The template could be, see, the template could be either in the JSON or the YML, right? Both are the same thing, right? Okay, so whichever language you are comfortable with, right, you can use it. Okay, so right now let me use the YAML. Okay, so I'm opening it. Okay, the template that we have just now seen, right, that is what that is the template that I'm right now uploading to the CloudFormation. Okay, and I'm creating that, clicking on the next, right? But before that, let's see that how that our template will look like in the designer. Okay, so that is what just I'm opening the designer window, so you will get idea that what you are going to get. Okay, so here you can see in the template we had specified that the DB instance, EC2 instance, and the S3. Okay, right, so this is what we are going to create, and right now there is no relation between that any resources. Okay, so that's why you are not able to see any arrow. Okay, right, so let me close this template. Okay, uh, I'm leaving back to the original that window of the CloudFormation stack. Okay, so performing the same step once again. That template is ready. Upload a template file, choose file, right? And here I'm choosing the file. Okay, and now I'm going to click on the next. Okay, right, so here it is asking me that what would be the name of my stack. Okay, so here I'm providing a name of my stack, that my WordPress stack. Okay, and right now there are no parameters, right? Okay, so later on I will explain that how or what kind of parameters that we can have. Okay, now I'm clicking on the next, right? Okay, and here if I want that, I can specify the tags, right? And I hope that you must be aware about the tags that we can specify. Okay, and also I can specify the IAM role, right, if I have specific activity to be carried out. Okay, and also we can specify the stack policy, rollback configuration, notification options, creation options, right? But we are not going to explore all these things right now. Okay, and just clicking on the next, right? So this is the window where we can review that whatever configuration parameter that we have set earlier. Okay, so just I'm moving downwards, right, and clicking on the create stack. Okay, so here you can see in this window, you can see that what is happening right now. Okay, so here we are getting a status that create in progress. Okay, right, so that means the resources are being created. Okay, and if you will go through the various steps which are available over here, right? Okay, and if you will click on the resources, you will get the idea that how many resources have been created. Okay, so here you can see that resource created initiation for the RDS instance, that is DB instance, resource created initiated, that is the for the EC2 instance, and also for the S3, right? Okay, now if you will click on refreshing this, right, you will get idea that the something happened with the EC2. What happened? That EC2 instance has been created. Okay, similarly that S3 has been created, right? And if you want to see that where the S3 is, right, okay, so you can click on this particular link. Okay, and you will able to see that the S3 instance which is created by our CloudFormation template. Okay, right? Okay, so this is the bucket that we have created through our CloudFormation template. Okay, right? So here that also you can see that the EC2 instance that we have created. Okay, I'm just closing this screen. Okay, this one EC2 instance we have created. Okay, and this is the EC2 instance that we have created. So if you can recall that the instance type that we had specified was t2.micro. Okay, right? So I'm closing this also, right, and coming back over here, right? And still this particular aws rds db instance is taking time, because that it takes approximately 5 to 20 minutes to create this db2 instance. Okay, right? So let's wait for that, and hopefully that it will finish its execution as soon as possible. Okay, no problem. Let's come back to our presentation. Okay, uh, here it is. Okay, so what we have done, okay, so we have seen our template, right? So let's go through the template once again. That the aws template, CloudFormation template, has one compulsory part, that is the resources, the section, that is the resources, which can have the aws resource. Like here in this case, we are having the db, right? We are having ec2, we are having s3, right? So every resource would have two parameters, like the type as well as the property, where we can specify that the resource related configuration parameters, like that the db instance class type db.t2.micro, db name, that is the wordpress, that engine that we want to use, that what will the password and what will be the username. Okay, and also for the ec2 we have specified that from where or which AMI that I want to use, and what will be the instance type, and what will be the uh, S3 bucket, and what will the name of the S3 bucket. Okay, right? So this is what we have specified in the template, and writing a template is very simple thing, right? So once you will go through the template, what is the template and what parameters would be there, you can easily write the template. Okay, right? Now, the question is that, can I use this template in the future for other requirement? Okay, right? Let's see that, is it possible? Okay, so for that, what I'm doing, I'm moving back to my aws console. Okay, and here let me see that this one is finished or not. Okay, it is not getting finished. Okay, what I'm doing, that I'm moving back, moving to some another region. I'm going to the Asia Pacific, that is Mumbai region. Okay, and here I want to create a stack, like with the help of the same template that we have used. Okay, I'm choosing the template. Okay, where it is, here it is. Okay, and I have opened the template, right? Clicking on the create stack. Okay, here I'm specifying my WordPress stack, let's say 2. Okay, right, and then clicking on the next. The stack name contains only letter numbers and must start with the letters. Okay, right? So that space is not allowed. Okay, right? The reason is what? Like, see, if you create that S3 bucket, okay, and sometimes that CloudFormation required to specify the automated bucket name. That means, suppose user have not specified the bucket name, in that case CloudFormation will pick one random bucket name. Okay, so that random bucket name would always start by your cloud formation stack, that you stack name that you have specified over here, right? And that's why it is not allowing to specify the space. Okay, because it is used in the name of the bucket that would be created by the CloudFormation. Okay, so that is the reason. Okay, so please keep that thing in mind. Now I'm clicking on the next, right? And this is the page where I can review the parameters which I have set. Okay, now I'm clicking on the create step. Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, so what is happening over here? Yeah, something weird happened. What happened? That create failed. What happened? That, see, the WP crypto gurus, that the bucket name, right, that we have already specified, use somewhere else. where we have used in the cloud formation stack, we have created in the North Virginia, right? So I cannot use the same bucket name somewhere else, because the bucket name, S3 bucket name, is global, right? So that is one of the issue that we have currently we are having with the template that we have created. Okay, and also there is issue that there is no default VPC available. Okay, so if the no default VPC available, and as we have not specified that VPC is supposed to be created by creating this EC2 instance, right? The EC2 instance will not be permitted to create. Okay, so what happens, what is the meaning of that? In the template, if you are not specifying any VPC, okay, means you want to you want that EC2 should go into the default VPC. In that case, what will happen, that the default VPC must be there in that particular region, then and then the EC2 instance would be created, otherwise it won't be created. Okay, right? So like okay, so these are the error messages that we got. Okay, and that's why what happened, that rollback had happened, so that whatever resources were created, right, everything was deleted, everything is deleted over here, right? Okay, so if you will see the stack over here, right, this is a stack. Okay, right, which is having some error, that and that's why that cloud formation done some rollback. Okay, so what we can do now, we can delete this. Okay, I'm deleting this tag. Okay, and moving back to my different region, that is the North Virginia region, where we have created the stack, and let's see the status of that RDS. Okay, so again, it is in a create in a progress. Let me open the resources, that DB instance. Okay, resource creation initiated, right? So this is going to be created, but if you will see the window of the sorry, DB instance, right, where you can get the idea that what is happening over there. Mm, so here you can see that it is in the mode of backing up, like that whenever you create any RDS instance, right, first it creates the database, then it takes the backup of the database which is created. Okay, so that is what happening right now. Okay, and so after the completion of this backing up process, that is it DB instance would be in the create complete mode. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now here you can see that all the DB sorry, all the resources which we have specified in the cloud formation tech uh, are created. Okay, so like the issue that we had faced in the case of that Asia specific Mumbai region. Okay, the issue was that we were not having that default VPC. Okay, so let's see that what we have over there. Okay, in the Mumbai we are right now. Okay, Mumbai region. Okay, and let's see that VPC, we don't have any VPC right now. Okay, and that was the issue, that we are not having any default VPC. Okay, so suppose if you want to create the default VPC, right, the question would be, how can I create a default VPC? So just to create a default VPC, what you can do, you can start creating the EC2 instance, right, and while launching the instance, while creating a new instance, it will ask me that whether I want to create a new VPC or default VPC or not, as the VPC is not available. So here I'm creating a instance. Okay, going to the configuration, and here asking that VPC is not found, right? So what I can do, I can create a new VPC. Okay, and it will lead me to that the VPC. Okay, Actually, you should ask me that I'm not having a default VPC. Yeah, here, here you can see that here I'm having option that create a new default VPC. Okay, so that is what I'm clicking. I have a, okay, creating a default VPC and create. Okay, so the default VPC has been created. Okay, I'm closing this screen and moving back over here. Okay, so let me go back to the cloud formation. Okay, in the, see here right now I am in the Mumbai region. Okay, Asia specific Mumbai region. Okay, creating a stack. Okay, performing the same step. Right now it should allow me. Okay, well, first I have one question in the chat, like that someone want to see that what is, where is the default region in the North Virginia. Okay, so let me go to the VPC here. Right, in the VPC you would able to see the default VPC available in the North Virginia. Like here I'm having one VPC, and this one is the default VPC that is available, created by the AWS itself for us, or the for the user. Okay, right. Okay, now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm removing the stack that we have already created in North Virginia. Okay, so let me go to the stack window, this one. Okay, now I'm deleting this. Okay, I'm deleting. Okay, so it will start deleting everything. Okay, all the resources will be deleted, right? So now you must have felt that how simple this is and how efficient this is, that with the help of only one click you would able to delete all the resources which you have created. Okay, now I'm going to the that Asia Pacific Mumbai region. Okay, and here we want to create our stack. Right now, as the previous stack has been deleted, that means we have deleted the bucket, right? So there should not be issue of the bucket name. Okay, and also we have deleted the EC2 instance, we have deleted the DB instance. Okay, let's see that what is going to happen now. I'm choosing a file, same file I'm choosing. Okay, and I'm clicking on the next. Right here I have to specify the name. Okay, so my WordPress stack 2 without any space. Okay, clicking on the next. Right, I don't want to specify any tags right now, or don't want to set any other parameters. Just clicking on a create stack. Okay, the stack creation would be started. Okay, right, and let's see that what is happening, that the user has initiated what, that is the create in progress. Okay, let's see, let's review. Okay, so something wrong happened over here. What happened, that the following resources failed to be created. Right, rollback up. Why rollback occurred? Okay, let's go through one by one. Okay, so what happened, see, up to this particular point everything was okay, right? Okay, but here we have something weird. What is that? It says that the image id does not exist, right? What does it mean? That the image id we had specified is the correct one, but the problem is what, that ami image of the instances are region specific. Okay, so the AMI that we have used in our, or we have mentioned in our template, is specific to North Virginia. Okay, and that's why that I cannot use that particular AMI in the Asia Pacific region in the Mumbai. Okay, so that is the issue, and that's why this particular template is creating a problem for us, right? So the first problem was which one, that we require to specify the bucket name in the template. That was the first issue. Now the second issue is what, that we require to specify that the AMI that we want to use. Okay, so do we have any way that where our AMI can be region independent? Right, we have such a way, right? That is what we can do with the help of parameters and the mapping section of the AWS CloudFormation template. Okay, so let me delete this tag first. Okay, and coming back to my presentation. Okay, so where it is. Okay, so here is the presentation. Okay, so the question was that, can I use this template in the future for other requirement? The answer is not possible to reuse, right? What is the reason? The reason is that the environment size is hard coded. Suppose, like here we have specified that the environment size, that is the t2.micro, and later on, suppose some other user want to have some higher configured environment, right? So in that case, what you require to do, you require to go to the template and you require to change it manually, right? So that is the one of the problem with this template. Another template is that the bucket name is hard coded. That was the issue. Okay, so we have to find out some way such that the bucket name should not get conflicted. Okay, and obviously this particular template is not portable, right? Because everything is hard coded in the template, right? Like that we have seen that the AMI that we are using, that is specific to North Virginia. Okay, so how we can overcome all these issues, right? So if the template want to permit user to select instance type, like suppose while executing the CloudFormation template, if we provide some way where user can select that what user want, okay, right? So that would be the great idea for us. Like for the EC2 instance, there are different types of instance available, like T2 micro, M1 small, M1 large, right? So what we can do, we can provide some provision for the user to select that specific instance type while creating the CloudFormation stack. That is what we can do. Okay, so here, like what we can do, we can declare the parameters. Okay, like as we have discussed earlier, that the CloudFormation template can have parameters also along with the resources, right? So the parameters can be written like this, that the parameters, okay, there you can specify the parameter name. Okay, you can have multiple parameters also, right? And this is a YAML presentation. Okay, uh, so instant type parameters, that is what we want to specify, and the type of the value would be string. Okay, default value is, suppose user is not selecting anything at runtime, okay, the default value would be 2 dot micro. Okay, and these are the possible values like t2 dot micro, m1 dot small, m1 dot large. Okay, so means when user will get this parameter while creating the stack, at that time user will have a combo box where user will have the chance to select one of the available value in the which is mentioned over here. Okay, right? So this is what we can specify in the CloudFormation template. Okay, so now here you can see the where the change would be. So if you can recall that the template that we had created earlier, we had hard coded instance type like this, that instance type T2 micro, right? But we want that this thing should be dynamic. That means this value should come from the user selection. Okay, so what we can do, I can declare the parameter that section as we have declared over here, right? And this particular thing, that instance type, could be replaced like instance type, and then I have to call the functions. See, this is a function like reference. Okay, so in a CloudFormation template, I can have a function which always be called with the help of the keyword, that is a ref followed by the colon and the instance type parameter. This is what we have specified. We have specified earlier in the parameter section. So here you can see this particular uh, parameter section, that is the instance type parameter. Okay, right? So here you can see that the same thing that I have specified. So this value would come based on the user selection. Okay, so don't worry, right now if you are not getting, I'm going to show you the demo. Okay, so that is the first thing that we have done, right? I have uh, provided the way that based on that the user would able to select the parameter at runtime. Okay, now still we are having issue. What is the issue? Here you can see that in the db, for the db resource type also we require to specify that which type of instance that we require, because we know that for the RDS instance we have choices, right? Which instance that I want to use. Okay, so that also I require to specify. Okay, so what I can do, that I can have either new parameter based on this, or what else I can do, that like I can specify like that what could be the instance, like instance could be small, medium, or large. Okay, and here you can see that at multiple places I require such kind of that selections. Okay, so that's why what I'm doing, that I'm converting that all this requirement into the single requirement. Okay, and what I would able to do, I would able to declare the this another section in my that template. Okay, see, there is a mistake, this should be mappings, it is not mapping only, this should be mapping. Okay, so mappings followed by colon. Okay, so under the mapping step, right, uh, a section, what we can do, I can specify the instance size. Okay, instance size. Okay, and also this t, please remove this t. Okay, if you will try to match with it with over here. Okay, so instance size, right, that instance can be either small, medium, or large. Okay, now here in mapping, how does it work? So in that that resources section, what I can do, I can specify one more function like this, that is a find map is the function. Okay, that I can use. Okay, in what this find map function will do, it will try to find out the instance size mapping. Okay, which is declared inside the mapping section of the template. Okay, so here you can see there is a instance size. Okay, right, so this instance size would be mapped over here. Okay, once the instance size would be available, from that this particular function will try to find out where the large is mentioned. So large is mentioned over here. Okay, so large would come from here. Okay, and from large, that this large is nothing but what, it is a key. Okay, it is a key. Okay, and what is the corresponding value of that key that we want, that is the db, which is mentioned over here, right? So this particular part would go over here, right? Now I think it should be clear to you that what will happen, what this will return, this will return just this, that is the db dot t3 dot medium. Okay, so the find map explanation mark uh, that function, okay, with the square bracket, you are specifying the instance size, that is that this instance size is nothing but what, it is a mapping that you want to refer for this function. Okay, under the mapping, which key you want, right, that you have specified as what, like instance size. Okay, this is your key. Okay, and for this key, sorry, this instance size is a mapping, and the key is what, large, right? So that is what you have specified, like that the key value could be either small, it could be medium, it could be a large. Okay, and for this particular key, what would be the name value pair that you want to use? Okay, so here that these are the names. Okay, these are the names. Okay, and these are the corresponding values. Okay, so that the name given over here is db. Okay, so that's why this particular value would be resolved, and that would be written over here. Okay, now here again you can see that we are explicitly specifying the name over here, right? Okay, but suppose if I want to provide the user specified value, then what I can do, that I have already provided the provision in the parameter section, where user can select that whichever instance type that user want. Okay, like that the environment size that we have specified as a parameter. Let me go to the parameter, right, instance parameter size. Okay, okay, so there is a naming and the names are different, right? So consider that it was written as the environment size. Okay, so the environment size would be replaced with the corresponding parameter value. Okay, that parameter value would come over here. Okay, so let's go back to over here, right? So here the parameter value would be like this, that the t2 micro, m1 dot small, m1 dot large kind of thing. Okay, so that kind of thing would come over here, right? So see, in the now environment size, just I have to specify either small, medium, or large. That is what I have to specify. Okay, right? So now let's see the template, how the template would look like. So here you can see that the ec2 resource, in the resource section I would be having ec2. Okay, so in EC2, if I want to find out the image id, what will be the image id that could be found with the help of this function, that is a find in map. Okay, so see, the first issue that we were having is what, that the EMI is region specific, and that is what we want to resolve, right? And now how this could be resolved, this could be resolved with the help of pseudo parameters which are available in the AWS. Okay, so this is one of the pseudo parameter, right? That or in another sense you can say that the parameter specified by the AWS. Okay, so here we are having a pseudo parameter, that is the AWS colon colon region. Okay, that will give us that the current region where the user logged in. Okay, right, so that region value would be resolved like this. Okay, and the reference function, you know that this reference function will replace this particular parameter with the actual value. Okay, right, and obviously I'm going to show you that whole template so you will get idea. Okay, and then we are having AMA Linux, right? And this AMA Linux would be in terms of parameter in our that template. Okay, and the region map would be the one of the mapping that key that would be available in the uh, one of the mapping, not key, but one of the mapping available in the mapping section. Similarly, the instance type, like as we have discussed earlier, that the instance size would be there, like here we are having instance size. Okay, right, so instance size, the reference, that is the environment size, this would come from the parameter. Okay, so whenever we refer the parameter, we have to specify the ref uh, function call. Okay, and what would be the corresponding value of EC2. Similarly, we are having a DB, right? In the DB also we are having DB instance class, so the same thing we have to specify as we have specified over here. Okay, so instance size, then reference, environment variable size, and DB. Okay, and DB name, then master user name, master user password. Okay, so what will happen, that how this would be uh, handled by the AWS Cloud Formation. Okay, so what will happen, that whenever the find in map function would be called, at that time it will try to go into the mapping section, and in the mapping section it will look for the instance size mapping. So whether it is available, yes, it is available over here, right? Once it will find out that the instance size, right, after that the cloud formation is getting idea that now I have to call the reference function. So obviously I have to look into the parameters. Okay, so in the parameter it will find out that what is the environment size. Okay, so environment size, that default is small. Okay, so that small would come over here, so that small would become the key over here, right? Okay, this is how it would be resolved, and after that it will find out the name value key pair. Okay, so this is where that the DB name would be resolved. Okay, so in this case, that this would return dbt2 micro. I hope this is clear to all of you. Similarly here, let's go through this, right? Instance size, that would be resolved from here, right? Then the environment side, that will be resolved from here. Okay, and it will give me the idea that is the small. Okay, so this particular find in map would be resolved to t2 dot micro. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. So let's go ahead. Right now, the another problem, see, here we have solved the issue of that here now you don't require to hard code that the instance type, as well as that we have resolved the issue of that image id, that AMI that we are using. Okay, the two issues we have solved. Okay, now one more issue that we have with the S3 bucket name. Okay, so in S3 bucket name, this is the place which is a problematic. Okay, right, now how this can be solved. So this bucket name is global, right? So obviously it is not good idea to hard code the bucket name, right? Okay, so what we can do, that the AWS template provide that that the properties of the S3, that means the bucket name, you may avoid to write the bucket name. Okay, so once you will avoid to write the bucket name, okay, at that time what will happen, that the AWS cloud formation will provide some random bucket name to the bucket that we want to create. Okay, so this is how it would be solved, right? And how the AMI would be solved, right? As we have seen that the AMI is a region specific, right? and that should be solved with the help of the pseudo parameter, right? Just we have discussed pseudo parameter like that. These are the example that AWS region, what it will return, it will return that the current region you are, okay, and this AWS colon colon account ID will return that your account ID, okay. So these parameters, pseudo parameters, the values which are provided by the AWS, this could be used, okay. So what will happen that we can create the mapping of the region map, okay, and as the AWS region can give me the can return me the value like US hyphen east hyphen 1, US hyphen east hyphen 2, US hyphen west hyphen 1, okay. Based on that, the particular AMI would be uh, that return, okay, right. So this is how this particular mapping is going to work. So let's try to understand the find in map, okay. What will happen, it will go into the directly to the mapping section and try to find out that do I have any that key, not key but the mapping, that is the region map, okay. And after that, this AWS colon colon region will give me the current region where I am, okay. And based on that, particular one of the region would be resolved, okay. And once the region has been resolved, what will happen that it will try to get the value of that the name based on the name, that is AMA Linux, okay, and will return the value of AMI ID that we are going to use, okay, for our CloudFormation template, okay. So far so good, right? Now let's see that how my CloudFormation will look like, okay. So I'm sharing that another window with you, right? So you will able to get the idea that the CloudFormation that we have, okay. uh, Let me open that. Okay, so I hope that all of you are able to see this, okay. So here you can see now that we are having a CloudFormation template which is a little bit updated, okay. So you can see that the parameters that we have now, that is the environment size, okay, where I can have possible values like small, medium and large, right, which are going to be used in the mapping, right, as we have seen in our earlier example, okay. So here you can see in the instance size mapping, we are having those value like small, medium and large. So this value would be resolved from the parameters, right, that we are having over here, right. In the mapping section, you can see that we are having two mapping now. Region map, that will be used to resolve the AMI that we are going to use, and also it is that instance size mapping is also available, that is used to select that uh, the type of instance based on the user need, okay. So that is what we have, right. Only we have added what mappings and the parameters in our CloudFormation template, okay. Then the rest of the things are same, like that I'm having the resources section, okay. Under resources, you can see that I'm having DB, EC2 and S3, right. From S3 I have removed that the bucket name, right. And here in EC2 you can see that the now image would come dynamically based on the user selection, okay. That from the mapping, like the region map is one of the mapping that we have declared. AWS region is one of the uh, pseudo parameter that we are using over here to resolve the region of the user, okay, right. And similarly, we are using the mapping for the instance type also, like instance size, reference, environment size and EC2, okay. So this is what we have, okay. Now let's go back to the our AWS console, okay. So in the AWS console, okay, uh, let me refresh this, okay. This delete in progress, okay. Let me go back to the North Virginia. In the North Virginia, let's try to create this stack first, okay. Now right now there are no stacks, okay. Just I'm creating a stack from the template which just I have created, okay. So I'm uploading a template, choosing a file, and I'm selecting the different template which just we have reviewed. Okay, clicking on the next. Right here I have to specify that my WordPress updated template 1. Okay, right now here, see, got this. We have specified the parameter. Okay, and for the parameter we are having 3 possible values, that is a small, medium and large. So as many as parameter you will specify in the template, all the parameters would come over here and will provide you that the provision that using that you can select the configuration parameter based on your requirement. Okay, so here just for the sake of simplicity I'm using the small one, clicking on the next. Right, okay, I don't want to specify any tags. See, my mapping would not come over here. Right, mapping is just for the internal purpose, only you would able to see the parameters. Okay, clicking on the next. Right, and clicking on the create stack. Okay, right now it will start creating a stack. Okay, let me click on a refresh. Okay, so it has started creating stack. Okay, right. Okay, so let it to create the stack. Okay, meanwhile we are moving to the Asia Pacific Mumbai. Okay, and let's try to create stack, the same stack over here. Okay, and let's see that whether we have resolved our issue or not. Okay, I'm choosing the particular template, the updated template that we have seen over here, clicking on the next. Okay, and here I'm providing a name that my WordPress updated stack 2. Okay, and here also I can select the parameters based on our need and clicking on the next. Right, I don't want to specify another other configuration parameter. Okay, just clicking on create stack. Okay, it will start creating a stack. Okay, let's see that do we have any problem now. Okay, so resource creation has been started. Okay, right, let's go back to the previous one. Okay, that copy this. I'm opening the North Virginia region now. Okay, so I will get the idea that what is happening over there. Okay, so this is the stack that we have creating. Okay, so again that the creation is progress. Let's see that how many resources have been created so far. So it has created what? It has created the EC2 instance. It has created the S3 bucket also. Right, so let's see that what has happened with the S3 bucket. So as I told you that there was the issue while giving the name of the cloud formation stack. Right, that space is not allowed. Why the space is not allowed? Because that the cloud formation uses that your bucket, sorry, not bucket, but your stack name, like this one, that my WordPress updated template, that was the stack name which is used to build the name of the S3 bucket. Okay, so here you can see the structure is like this, that the stack name followed by that S3 followed by some random string. Okay, so there won't be any issue of that the uniqueness of the bucket that which we are going to create. Okay, so that creation is happening right now. Okay, so let's go back to the Mumbai region. What is happening? Let's see that in the Mumbai region everything is perfectly all right. Okay, there is no issue. So let's see in resources what is happening. Yeah, in resource also you can see that everything is working nicely. Okay, so that the S3 bucket has been created. Okay, so if you will again observe that what is the name of S3 bucket, you will get idea that it would always start with the name of the stack that we have created, like my WordPress updated stack 2. Okay, right, so this is how the stack would be created, okay, the updated stack. So what we have done, that previously, that the first example of the uh, CloudFormation template, we had seen that the first version was not portable, right? The second version which we have created is portable. Okay, what does it mean? That that particular template is able to execute in any region, right? That is what we have done. And also that there is no like hard coded things in the second template. Okay, so that is what we have taken care. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay, now uh, let's see something else, that is, so let's go through that the EC2 instance that we have created. So the EC2 instance which we have created, right, that will always go to the default VPC that we have in that particular region. Okay, right, let me maximize this so I can go through this, right? So it will go into always that the default VPC, right? And also that the security group would be default security group. Okay, so if you will open that, and you will get try to idea that what is there, what is mentioned over there. Okay, in the security group you can get idea like this, that what are the inbound rules, what are the outbound rules, right? So here you can see that the by default, that inbound rule is what, that everything is allowed. Okay, which is under this particular security group, right? And that is what you can change. Suppose you want to access this particular EC2 instance from your current location, at that time you require to specify that SSH rule, right? And if the SSH rule would be there, then and then you would able to use this particular, access that particular instance, otherwise no. This is how you can add the SSH rule to our EC2 instance, right? So that the after or post installation configuration are possible for the resources which we have created with the help of CloudFormation. Okay, so that is what I wanted to show you. Okay, and I hope that the configuration must have finished. Let's see, let's do refresh and see that what is happening. Okay, that resource creation initiated, that that RDS always takes some time. Okay, right, so that is what happening right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss a few more things related to the AWS CloudFormation template. Okay, now moving back to the presentation. Yeah. So now the question is that the developer regularly create and update the CloudFormation stack using API calls, right? For security reason, you need to ensure that the users are restricted to a specified template. Okay, how can this be achieved, right? So this also can be achieved with the help of CloudFormation template. Okay, where you require to specify the condition, like condition is also one of the part of the CloudFormation template. That is I'm not going to explain about the condition in today's session, that I will cover in the successive sessions later on. But what you can do, you can have a condition section in the CloudFormation template, right? And where you can have that the template URL parameter. Here there is a spelling mistake, right? Please make this A. Okay, so cloud under the condition, you can specify the template URL parameter, where you can specify the security configuration of the users. Okay, so that is the correct answer. Another question is that, like, an organization is considering ways to reduce administrative overhead and automate build process. An architect has suggested using CloudFormation. Okay, so which of the statement below are true regarding the CloudFormation? You are requested to go through the all the options available, right, and try to find out the answer. I think this should be clear to all of you. I'm giving some time to you, right? And please go through the options available. Okay, so the answer would be which one? Okay, let's go in this way. Like, see, whenever you are planning for to appear for the certification examination, if you are not sure about the correct answer, then find out the wrong answer. That what could be the most irrelevant answers. Okay, so it is like that. So the first option is that it is used to collect and track metrics, collect and monitor log files and set alarms. No, obviously that cloud formation is not used for this, right? So this is not the correct answer. Okay, and second one, you pay for the cloud formation and the AWS resource created. No, see, cloud formation is obviously free, right? You don't require to pay anything extra for the cloud formation, but obviously you require to pay for the resources which are going to be created by the cloud formation. Okay, so this is also not the correct answer. The third one is that it provides the visibility into the user activity by recording action taken on your account. No, obviously this is not. For this you have to use the cloud trail. Okay, this is not the correct answer. The D, right, this says that allow you to model your entire infrastructure in the text file. Yes, this is the correct answer. Like that the JSON file and the YAML file that we write are considered as a text file. The last one is that it provides a common language for you to describe and provision all the infrastructure resources in your cloud environment. Yes, this is also the correct answer, right? So these are the two correct answers, right, for this question. Okay, one more question is that you are creating a cloud formation template that will provision a new EC2 instance and new EBS volume, right? So what do you need to specify to associate the block store with the instance? Okay, so here this questions need some explanation. Like, see, uh, if I will go back to that the AWS console, right, I would able to explain it easily. Okay, so let me go back to the console. Okay, so here if you see that when you create a stack from the cloud formation with the help of cloud formation, that every resource would have two IDs, the logical ID and the physical ID, right? Okay, so logical ID means what? That whatever we have specified in the template, like for EC2 we have specified EC2, for database we have specified DB, for S3 we have specified S3, right? So this is going to remain same throughout the life cycle of the stack, right? The logical ID of the component is going to remain same. Okay, what could be changed? Suppose you are relating this particular EC2 instance, and if you want to again creating the EC2 instance with the help of this cloud formation tag, at that time the physical ID could vary. Okay, right? So that logical ID is what? That the ID that we are specifying in the cloud formation template, and the physical ID is what? That the actual resource ID created by the AWS at runtime. Okay, so let's come back to the presentation again. Okay, so now you will able to get the answer that of this question, that you are creating a cloud formation template that will provision a new EC2 instance and a new EBS volume. Okay, what do you need to specify to associate the block store with the instance? Okay, so here it is specifying that how we can map the different resources in the template itself. Okay, right? So in the particular that template, what we would be known, we would be known only the logical IDs. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to associate the logical ID of EC2 and the logical ID of EBC, because that is the only thing which is known at the template. Okay, the physical ID and the physical ID would not be available. Okay, and obviously as per this question we want to associate. Okay, so obviously we require the ID of both of the resources, right? uh, if we are having ID of only one resource, right, that is not sufficient to provide the association, right? And this also not correct, because this says that both EC2 physical ID and EBS physical ID we require, because this thing would be available at runtime. Okay, so only the B is the correct option. Okay, another question, that your system administrator currently use the chef for configuring configuration management of on-premise server, right? Which AWS service will provision a fully managed chef server and allow you to use existing chef codebook and the recipe? Okay, what is the correct answer? AWS CloudFormation, Opwork, Stack, Elastic Beanstalk, Opworks for Ceph automation. The correct answer is this one. Okay, for Ceph configuration, that CloudFormation is not used. Okay, so keep this thing in mind, right? Opwork Stack is also not useful. That Elastic Beanstalk is used to host your web application, dynamic web application, okay, or dynamic codes. Okay, so the answer is the Opwork for the Ceph automation. Okay, so that's it for today's session. We have learned so many things, right? But before concluding my session, I would like to show you one more template that is very important for you guys. Okay, and what the template is, let's discuss that template. It's very interesting template. That's why I would like to show that template to you. Okay, so I'm opening that template before you. Now, for the EC2, you know that when you host or launch the EC2 instance in the AWS, at that time, you have some way to specify the bootstrap script at the time of launching the instance. Okay, so the thing is that how can I provide that user specific data while launching the EC2 instance? So here you can see this is the way where you can specify the user specific data. So you have property under the resources. Okay, like for the EC2 we have properties, that is the user data, where I can specify my bootstrap script. Okay, so this is a bootstrap script for that our WordPress hosting infrastructure. Like here you can see what we want to do. We want to install the PHP MySQL. Okay, and obviously if we are having the older version, we are going to update it, and after that just checking that whether it is installed or not. Once it is installed, then what I'm doing, that I'm starting the HTTP. Okay, and moving to the var www html directory. Okay, and where I'm unzipping that the WordPress code that I'm going to download from this particular link. Okay, and then I'm removing that zip file, then opening that copying this file, that PHP file, into the WordPress config PHP file, right? And updating the parameter like this. Okay, so the database name would come from the parameter that we have specified over here, like here. Okay, the database name that we have specified in the parameter. I would like to show the parameter. This is the parameter section, okay, where we have a database name. Okay, so that particular value would come from the parameter section. Okay, the database user would also come from the parameter, and database password would also come from the parameter. Okay, but this particular thing, the db.endpoint.address, okay, this would come from the resource section, that the db instance that we are creating. Okay, and the what would be the endpoint, that means the URL through which that the database would be accessed, right? That would come from this particular uh, parameter value, right? And this is being referred from the resource section. Okay, so keep this thing in mind. Okay, so and now all this thing, that everything would be written into the wp-config file. Okay, right? So this is the bootstrap script that we want to embed into the EC2 instance while launching. Okay, right? So that is the only change over here. Okay, and this particular script can be uploaded to the CloudFormation, and we can create a stack based on that. Okay, so this is what just I wanted to explain. Okay, and also the few changes that I have made over here is that now instead of specifying the hard coded database name, I'm taking the database name from the user. Okay, so here you can see that the parameters have been created, database name. And suppose, see here, like when I will run this script now, let me show you that what will happen when I will run this script. See here we are having a parameter like database name, database user, and database password. Okay, let's see that what will happen. Okay, when I will create a stack, new stack. Okay, so I'm going here, creating a new stack with new resources. Okay, upload a template file, choosing the template, the third template that I want to I was demonstrating you. Okay, clicking on the next, and here you can see the parameters now you have. Okay, so either you can have a default parameter, or you can specify the different name like this. Okay, so here you can providing the fully dynamism to the user. Okay, and with the help of this, user would able to specify the runtime parameters. Okay, right. So that's it for today, right? This is what I wanted to convey you, all of you, right? So what we have learned, so we have seen that the disadvantage of creating the AWS resource manually through the AWS console, right? And also we have learned that how YAML and the JSON can be used to create the AWS CloudFormation stack, right? And also we have learned about the CloudFormation stack and differentiated that the template, what is a template and what is a CloudFormation stack. And also we have discussed about the stack set, right? The stack set is used to create the resources in the different region and the different user account ID. And also we have understood the templates of the cloud formation, right? Like that, what are the sections that we can have, like the resources, mappings, parameters, then condition, outputs. Okay, and how one can make the cloud formation template portable, and how finally we had discussed, just we have seen that how we can integrate the bootstrap script, right? That's it, guys. Thank you for attending the session. Okay, now if you have any question, you can ask me. I'm here to